Alright everybody, today okay, this is a fail of an intro already, but, point is that the past couple of episodes, rather the last two, have been not very good, and I've realized it's taken me 2 years now to basically get through most of Season 6, but I'm not going to dwell on it that much, because now we're finally going to take a look at an episode that, believe it or not, I actually really like. And that episode is The Times They Are a Changeling. Again, that's a mouthful of a title. So this episode starts out with Starlight, Twilight, and Spike going to the Crystal Empire. Or as apparently they were asked to go there.
Sorry, I know you want to visit your niece as much as possible, and I'm excited to see Sunburst again.
You mean Twilight is excited to see the demon baby that almost caused the end of the Crystal Empire's a mere, what, 15, 16 episodes ago?
I just don't want to fall behind on my friendship lessons back home. Starlight, your work in Ponyville isn't going anywhere. Besides, I think we all know you can learn about friendship anywhere, right, Spike?
Yeah. So, just to save you the trouble, the reason that Spike is basically undercover, because since he's pretty much a celebrity in the Crystal Empire, he decides not to get his ego stroked this time around, but rather he wants to try to keep it on the DL this time. Well, given this, at least he's learning. So, as they go into the Crystal Empire, it's surprisingly deserted, but the second Spike takes off his disguise, the Crystal Ponies come out to greet him. Kinda missing the gaps here for us. Oh dear Lord. Okay, I really don't know how to process this, but I guess I'll just fast forward a little more for a little bit more context. As they basically meet across the Crystal Guards, as basically Starlight is having none of the shenanigans that are not yet explained.
Of course we recognize her, but that doesn't mean it's really her.
It's okay, guys. They're with me. And any friend of Spike the Brave and Glorious is a friend of the Crystal Empire. Am I right?
Okay, never mind, he didn't. Okay, never mind, I hate him again.
It does look like him.
Are we never going to get past the fact on this show that the guards, whether it be in Canterlot or the Crystal Empire, are this dumb? I get it, kid show, but it's like, come on, it's 6 seasons, you'd think that they would be prepared for anything by this point.
Well, it would, wouldn't it? I'm sorry, but we'll need to see some proof of identification.
We'll take care of things from here.
Thankfully, Cadence, Shining Armor, and Sunburst basically coming to set the record straight.
Cadence, thank goodness. What's going on?
We can explain, Twilight, if it really is you.
Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs in the lake. Clap your hooves and do a little shake.
I remember back in the days when I first reviewed the Crystal Empire and I asked, are they going to do this every single time that they meet? And to be fair, they really haven't done on that secret handshake till this episode. So I think the last time they did it, I'm trying to remember, I think it might have been Three's a Crowd or Games Ponies Play was the last time they'd done it, so I guess the writers must have listened to the feedback and basically kind of cut that secret sign thing back up until this episode. And at least it makes sense here, and it's still kind of weird that 2 princesses are doing this, but who am I to judge?
It's okay, every pony. It's her.
Of course it's her. What's all this about?
A changeling has been spotted nearby.
A changeling? That's not good.
Okay. So basically this answers the question of why everybody was so freaked out and basically asking of the what ifs. And believe it or not, this was something I did not even notice until literally just a few minutes ago when I had to look up other reviews to get some more insight on this episode. But it turns out at the end of the Crystalline two-parter, it turns out there was a changeling flying in the background, and I did not even see that. I didn't see it the first time I saw the episode. I didn't even see it when I did the review of the Crystalline two-parter. Like I said, I did not know about this until the Kim Possible A Lot review pointed it out. I'm like, how did I miss that? But yeah, essentially this changeling has been hiding out in the Crystal Empire since the Crystalline has ended, and that's where everybody gets kinda antsy.
No, it's not. After Queen Chrysalis took my place at our wedding and invaded Canterlot with her army of minions, we're not taking this chance.
Changelings feed off of love, and ever since Flurry Heart's crystalline, the Empire is filled with more love than anywhere in Equestria.
Yeah.
It's possible they've come for the baby.
I'm kind of well, it is a baby alicorn, so I guess there's kind of the logic in there, but given what the baby did in that season premiere, I highly doubt they would find it safe.
That's why we posted the extra guards, and why we're...
Checking every pony's identity.
I'm sorry for all of this. Flurry Heart's really been looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah. Have you also learned to keep its magic under control and not destroy the only power source in your kingdom while you're at it? No, I'm not letting that go.
Oh, she's gotten so big. Starlight and I will do whatever we can to help protect her.
To be honest, having you here is already a big relief.
The royal guards were wondering if Spike, the Brave and Glorious, would like to join in the search for the changeling.
Yeah, because that is going to go over so well.
Really? I don't know if that's such a good idea, Spike.
I agree, Twilight. This is actually, I don't really think that's a good idea, because he's still technically a baby dragon.
It sounds dangerous. Come on, Twilight. This is Spike, the Brave and Glorious you're talking to. Have you ever known me to run from danger?
I would list the number of dangers that he ran away for the past 6 seasons, but I'm not going to give into a diatribe of that. But basically the fast forwarding, Spike basically does go along with it, and basically the guards listen to him, and coincidence of all coincidences, Spike ends up finding the changeling after almost falling off. Oh. And also through a Tom and Jerry sketch as he finds the changeling. But it turns out, but the changeling actually manages to save Spike from falling.
That's unexpected.
The ice is pretty slippery. I wouldn't want you to get hurt because of me.
You saved me?
It's okay. I know you don't want it.
He's only speaking a few lines of dialogue, and already I love him. And I feel so bad for him.
Wait! I don't understand. Changelings are supposed to be evil, right?
Evil? Well, not me. All I've ever wanted is friends. From the moment I first split my egg in the nursery hive.
Okay, give this episode this. It gives us nice world building on changelings. And it is absolutely terrifying.
I was part of the attack in Canterlot during the royal wedding, but I've never seen true friendship like that, and I couldn't just feel it and feed on its love. I wanted to share it. After that, I knew I couldn't live with my kind anymore. I set off looking for love to share, but
But what?
I'm starving, and there's so much love in the Crystal Empire right now. It's what drew me here. But it's driving me crazy.
Well, I guess that's just kind of the nature of how changelings are. And I think they're probably going to introduce this character, but basically this changeling, his name is Thorax, and, well, not to be confused with the Lorax, but basically, while Thorax was a part of the attack of the Canterlot wedding, he didn't actually do anything, and he saw how strong the friendship the main six were and wanted to embrace that love. But he couldn't feed off of it, and now, because of the way that he is his love is essentially based on starving. This does raise a lot of questions, considering that the main six were able to handle an army of changelings. Why is everybody so gung-ho on just worried about this one changeling? I mean, it's not like that he's been living in the Crystal Empire as a pony and he's being exposed as a traitor or anything.
That would be from the Royal Crystal. It's pretty much a giant outpouring of light and love for a new baby.
Oh, sorry. I'm just so hungry. If I had a friend, maybe the love we shared could sustain me, but I don't think the Crystal Ponies want to be friends.
Yeah, I think maybe now is probably a good time to mention this, but here we go. I think because of the way that everybody has been acting and what we're going to see as... Yeah, there's not a better time to get this out of the way. So here we go. Basically, that the reason that the Crystal Ponies don't want to be friends with Thorax is because, well, yeah, it's kind of... there's really no other point to go around it. It's basically racism. That's basically kind of the whole theme of the episode. Honestly, even if you ignore, if you have been following along with the show and if you listen to those first few lines of dialogue, you can immediately tell that this is going to be the kind of episode that addresses racism. But in this episode's defense, this episode kind of addresses racism in a way that I think kids might be able to understand. And in a way.
What if I told you?
So because of this, Spike wants to help Thorax and basically encourages him to basically disguise himself, help as a...
Two changelings? Defeating all the changelings?
And Spike decides to brag about it.
Not having to fight the changeling at all. Because I make friends with them.
Oh, wow. For a second I thought you were serious. Could you imagine friends with a changeling?
Yeah, this basically just goes back to what I said before. This episode basically addresses racism, essentially. And speaking of that, I have seen the Generation 5 MLP movie, and as a whole, I thought the movie was alright. And to be fair, the thing is that movie also addresses racism, and while I do think it also does a decent job, I honestly think that that movie kind of bludgeons that message with a sledgehammer, but this episode gives it the right amount. So basically, the 22-minute episode did a better job of addressing racism than an hour-and-a-half movie did. That's basically kind of how it is. And to be fair, this is not the first time I've seen this kind of episode. Honestly, I think the prime example of a racism episode I really like is the episode in Power Rangers Time Force Trip Takes a Stand. I think this episode, to me, is kind of how they address racism in a way. Okay? And I could do another comparison, and I've already... The clip has been around... Alright, I'm doing a piss poor job of the clip. But basically the point is that while this episode is predictable, and while it is good, the thing is, it is predictable, so I have to knock it some points back, and because this isn't really the first time that this happens, and Power Rangers Time Force did actually do a much better job of explaining the racism when it comes to mutants and what was addressed.
I am serious. He wants to be friends.
Whereas in this episode, the Crystal Ponies are essentially stupid, and Shining Armor's also kind of a dick.
There's no such thing as a nice changeling.
You're...
I mean, to be fair, in Shining Armor's defense, he was brainwashed, but I think because of the fact they're kind of simple-minded, the Crystal Ponies are so simple-minded that they're not willing to take anything into consideration. It kind of makes you wonder that you think that he would try to basically listen to reason a little bit more. You would think that would be the case, but apparently not.
That's Shining Armor. Sorry. That was a joke.
Yeah, so you can probably tell that the Crystal Ponies are kind of dicks. But like I said, this episode basically addresses racism, and like I said in this episode's defense, while it is predictable, it's much better to digest the information in a 22-minute episode than having it bludgeoned into your head for an hour and a half.
What did they say? How many new friends do I have?
So Spike goes back to Thorax, and they basically said that because that the Crystal Ponies are total racists, and he says that they're not going to listen, but Spike basically convinces him to basically take up with the Skies.
Spike, if you're done searching for the Changeling, Starlight and I could use your help. We're working on a protection spell for Flurrycon, and no pony takes notes like you.
Actually, Twilight, I wanted to introduce you to my friend, Crystal Hook. My good friend, Crystal Hook.
Nice to meet you.
God, even the pony form Thorax is adorable.
Oh, well, it's nice to meet you too. How do you know Spike?
Oh, Spike and I go...
Yeah. So basically, Twilight does not really fall for this facade, and rather she doesn't know about it, as basically Spike shows Thorax act around in pony form, and everybody seems to like him.
As nearly as entertaining as Spike himself.
Oh, this place is everything I've ever dreamed of. But I can't keep pretending to be a crystal pony forever, can I?
Relax. You're winning them over. Pretty soon, no pony will care that you're a changeling.
And surprisingly, nobody... And this is kind of what I was going at of why the guards are kind of dumb, because Spike literally says this right behind them, and they're just completely clueless. Like, they didn't stop to think for 1 second and be like, wait, is that new friend that Spike with is a changeling? Like, all that extra protection and all that upheld security, it's like they're not taking it into consideration.
Twilight told me you were off with a friend. And any friend of Spike's of Brave and Glorious is a friend of mine.
Okay, so the stage of the trouble, basically, Thorax is revealed and everybody gets kind of, well, like I said, racist.
Close to the babies. What other explanation could there be?
I don't know.
Spike?
Do you have any idea how stupid you sound right now?
I don't even know where to begin. Okay, this is another example of why I think the same episode I addressed, why Trip Takes a Stand, is better than this, is because, like the title says, Trip does stand up for the mutant Otacon, who, by the way, if you haven't seen the episode, was a mutant who was arrested by Time Force because of petty theft, compared to the other mutants in the show that basically caused destruction. And yet Spike does not stand up for this moment, and oh my god, like, I can't even get past this, is that you think that Spike would be able to just stand up and be like, hey, listen, this guy is my friend, I think you should be able to listen to me.
Don't let the Changeling escape!
I hope your friend is okay.
Cadence, you are technically the queen of the Crystal Empire. You would think that you would know all your citizens. If you've never seen this pony before, I don't think he ever existed, ever. Yeah, this is kind of one of those... Yeah, there's just not a better time to point it out, but here we go.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? Spare me your pity party, considering you didn't stand up to your quote-unquote friend. Oh my god. I can't even get past...
Spike, you should go find Crystal's hook while we hunt down the Changeling.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to see me.
Spread out! The Changeling is probably still nearby!
Actually, I'm pretty sure he ran as far away from here as possible. But I said I know where.
Yeah, and are you willing to give him an apology this time, dickweed? Oh my god, I can't believe 6 seasons of this and we're still doing this to Spike. I know in a lot of my older reviews I really gave him a hard time, and it's like, now that I'm older and because I've watched more episodes and seeing Spike grow, for the most part, the passion's gone. For the most part, because it's episodes like Princess Spike that reignites the hatred, but most of the time not.
Hello?
So Spike is able to recognize his mistake and basically...
Little help?
Why do you think I would help you? I'm an evil changeling.
Because you're my friend. I just wish I had been with you.
It's okay. I know it's hard. Everyone in the Crystal Empire loves you. I couldn't ask you to give that up for me.
You don't have to ask.
What are you gonna do?
What I should have done in the first place.
Okay, and I give this episode this, is that unlike Princess Spike, where it was almost like he tried to run away from the problem, Spike recognizes his mistake and is going to set things right. Meanwhile, everybody in the Crystal Empire is sort of racking up a storm and looking all over the place, and Starlight is kind of the first to realize and be like, wait, this is kind of taking this a little too far.
Bad that there's a changeling around, but is all this really necessary?
If there's one changeling, there may well be a whole army on the way.
True, but Starlight has a point. This is getting a little out of hand.
I understand, but I don't know what else we can do.
Well, considering that we have not seen the changelings at all since the season 2 finale and the flashback acts in the season 5 finale, I'm not going to count because that was a possible future. But the point is, we have not seen the changelings since season 2. I highly doubt that they had enough time to prepare for this.
Spike! What are you doing? Get away from that thing!
Okay, this is just kind of the point where I'm going to bring in, because I keep addressing this episode, but I'm basically going to play the most famous scene of Trip Takes a Stand and basically point out why I think it's the best episode.
Justice. You think they deserve the same justice
reason why I think in Trip Takes a Stand is the best kind of episode that deals this in a kid's show. Because it gets straight to the point and addresses the problem, which is kind of what the Crystal Ponies are doing to Thorax. You hate him because he looks different.
No, he's not a thing. His name is Thorax. He's my friend.
Okay, I'm only going to save you the story because the thing is that it's a song, and again, because I've been trying to deal with, avoid copywriting kind issues, but basically the short version is, the song basically says, racism is bad, don't treat him any differently. Say whatever you want of me, but give Thorax a chance. That's essentially the short version of getting past the whole song. And because of that, music essentially saves the day.
Of course. You're a celebrity here in the Crystal Empire, and you just risked all of it for a friend. I can't imagine anything more brave than that. As the Princess of Friendship, I try to set an example for all of Equestria. But today, it was Spike who taught me that a new friend can come from anywhere. I guess every pony still has things to learn about friendship, even me. And if Spike says Thorax is his friend, then he's my friend too.
Yeah. It's too bad that Generation 5 decides to throw that all out the window and, like I said, make the entire moral basically be racism is bad and bludgeon that message into your head for about an hour and a half.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Crystal Empire, I would like...
Right. So the Crystal Empire does get past their prejudiced ways, and they basically accept Thorax as an honorary member of the Crystal Empire.
Looks like you were right after all. Right about what? Friendship lessons can happen anywhere.
Alright. And thus, that was The Times Are a Changeling. And I like the episode. Like I said, it's not really even... I honestly think it's up there as one of the better episodes as basically addressing this kind of situation, because the moral, while it is predictable for older audiences, for younger audiences, it's actually kind of a good way that kids might be able to understand. It is kind of trying to basically get past, the Crystal Empire being not as accepting and, again, kind of being a little racist, but I think that was the point of the episode. Thorax, I freaking love as a character, and I just feel so bad for him. You just want to give him a hug. And the thing that I think not since, and I don't know, just for Sidekicks, did I actually appreciate Spike, because this is kind of why I dialed back on the hatred for Spike all these years later. Because Spike actually learned his lesson. He basically recognizes his mistake and goes to set things right. And I feel so glad that they did. Now, like I said, is the episode predictable? Yes. Is it a little jarring to hear racism in the kids' show? Absolutely. But like I said, it's honestly a good way for kids who are fans of the show to be able to understand this racism. But, and what racism is, considering that to this day, it's still a huge issue, and we're all trying to be a bit more accepting. However, like I said, because of this episode's predictable nature and the fact that I've seen this kind of episodes multiple times, and plus the one example that I played of Trip Takes a Stand, I think is honestly the best episode when it addresses this. But honestly, there really wasn't anything I didn't really outright hate. So honestly, I would say The Times They Are a Changeling, I'm probably going to give it a B+. It would have been an A- if not for the fact that this is kind of a predictable episode, and it is jarring to sit through at times, but it's not outright bad. Honestly, it's a pretty good episode. A lot better than the last two episodes that I watched, so that's good. So The Times They Are a Changeling is a B+ for me. Alright. So, next time, our next episode is going to be Dungeons and Discords. See you guys next time. Bye.